For shakehand players, trying to snap the wrist like that is ineffective. A shakehand player can't rotate their wrist enough, trying to will just produce a no-spin ball. Alright, today we're breaking down the left side spin topspin serve. We'll start with the long serve and then move on to the short one. To make your side spin topspin serve a real threat, what's more important, spin or speed? The answer is speed comes first. If your motion is slow and predictable, with no explosion at contact, your opponent will have all day to attack it. A great serve has a powerful, explosive quality. That suddenness is what makes it so deceptive. If you're trying for speed but making errors, you're likely standing too far from the table, which makes it hard to control the first bounce. Position your left foot right up against the edge of the table. This will give you control over that first bounce. Second issue, why are your side spin serves so slow? It's because your swing path is going from up to down, and then forward. The correct motion must be from back to front. That's the only way to generate maximum ball speed. While elite players may bring their racket up high on the backswing, their contact point is low, so there's very little vertical drop in the swing itself. Most amateurs contact the ball too early, causing them to hit downward on it. This results in a serve that pops up too high. For a fast side spin topspin, your forearm needs to pull back horizontally. This is the key to generating speed. If you're struggling to get started, just hold your forearm out parallel to the table and practice the motion of tossing and striking the ball. After your backswing, it's crucial that you drive through the ball to propel it forward. That forward propulsion comes from your forearm. Remember the sequence: pull back, then drive forward. Because without speed, no matter how much spin you put on your side spin topspin, your opponent can simply push it back. Your forearm must generate force from back to front, using your elbow as a pivot to drive the ball forward. On this serve, as your arm drives forward, your wrist should also push forward horizontally. It's not just about brushing for spin. The wrist is definitely involved, but its job is to make solid contact and propel the ball. It moves forward, not downward. Think of the wrist action like a palm strike. You must accelerate forward and follow through, don't stop the motion halfway. Many players lack length and speed on their serves because they cut their follow-through short. You have to extend your hand and forearm through the contact. This forward drive adds momentum and generates real speed. So, don't stop your motion early. Your wrist and forearm must drive through the ball to maximize its speed. You need that forward drive to make the serve kick off the table. Without it, the second bounce will be flat and easy to handle. Fourth, when serving side spin topspin, you must avoid accidentally adding backspin. This means you cannot make contact with the bottom of the ball. Many amateurs fail to serve a true side spin topspin because they end up scooping or contacting the lower half of the ball. Avoid any downward motion into the ball. If you do that, you'll produce a dead ball with very little spin. A serve with that kind of ambiguous spin is a gift to a skilled opponent. They can either push it or loop it at will. So, your contact point should either be the back middle of the ball for drive, or the side of the ball for more spin. Now, once you have the speed, how do we add that kick to the bounce? Demonstrating, between those two serves, the second one clearly has more kick. Why does it kick? The back to front motion gives you speed. But to get the kick, the motion is forward and then up. Reversing that order will kill your speed. It's the forearm that provides the upward lift. Drive forward through the ball, and immediately after contact, snap your forearm upwards. The sequence of motion is back, then forward, then up. Pull your forearm back parallel, drive it forward for contact, and then whip it upwards. Back, forward, up. Master this sequence, and your serve will have a wicked kick. The reason many players have a slow hook serve is that they start their upward motion too early. A proper hook serve moves sideways first to generate speed, and then moves upward for spin. This gives you the best of both worlds. If you just go straight up, your serve will have a high arc and will be very slow. So, the forearm path is parallel back, forward, and then up. Blending these three parts into one smooth motion is the key to speed. A serve executed this way will be both fast and full of kick, almost like a forehand loop. Okay, let me break down the practice drills for you, step by step. Step 1. Open up your forearm, pull it back parallel to the table, and then swing forward. Focus on not contacting the lower half of the ball. Master this first. Step 2. Practice the forward then up motion. Once you've got that down, shorten the entire motion by a third, or even by half, to make it more compact. From there, you can add a deceptive follow-through, and that completes the serving technique. When you've perfected this, your opponents will pop the ball high when they try to push it. They won't be able to keep it low, and they'll miss if they try to attack it. At that point, you've mastered the core mechanic. Now, it's time to start working on the deceptive follow-through. Your goal is to practice blending the contact and the follow-through into one seamless, fluid motion. Once you reach this level and can mix this serve with your sidespin backspin, your opponents will constantly be misreading you. Now for the short serve, let's start with the penhold grip. Why can it be served so effortlessly? It's because I'm using the combined momentum. As the tossed ball is falling, my racket is rising to meet it. This contact creates powerful sidespin topspin. This is why a proper toss is essential for a good topspin serve. As the ball drops, your racket rises, and you get that combined force at impact. If your short sidespin topspin doesn't have enough kick, a good opponent will just chop block it with an open racket face, putting you in a difficult position. To generate heavy spin, you must use this combined force, racket rising to meet the falling ball. Second point, for both shakehand and penhold grips, this serve spin doesn't come from the fingers or wrist. A shakehand player can't rotate their wrist enough, trying to will just produce a no-spin ball. The first key, therefore, is the forearm. Your forearm starts low, and after contact, you must snap it up to about chest height. This is the single most important element for both penhold and shakehand players. Forearm down, then snap it up. If you start with your forearm high, it's nearly impossible to generate heavy spin on this serve. Advanced players might use a higher backswing, but when you're learning, keep your forearm level with the table surface. Then, as the ball drops, snap your forearm straight up, finishing at chest level. That's the power generated by the forearm. Penholders have an advantage here. After contact, you can snap the racket head back slightly, which adds a second burst of spin. So you're not just snapping the forearm up, you're also rotating the racket head to impart even more side spin. Penholders can use both the forearm and a racket head snap because of the grip's flexibility. We shakehand players can't do that. For shakehand players, trying to snap the wrist like that is ineffective. You won't get enough spin, and the motion is too slow. So, for you penholders, you must use both the forearm and racket head rotation to maximize the spin. For shakehand players, we have only one option: rely entirely on the forearm snap. I've tried using a wrist snap motion before, but it's useless. The ball just pops up with a very high arc. Therefore, for us shakehand players, the only way is to use your forearm to kick the ball upwards. This upward forearm drive is how we shakehand players can generate the heaviest possible sidespin topspin. So remember, you must lower your forearm and then lift it sharply. This will produce the maximum amount of spin. When executing this serve, you must avoid producing a weak, half-spin ball. To do this, you must make contact on the side of the ball. Get your racket around the side to brush it properly. Only by brushing the ball in this manner can you generate true sidespin topspin. If you come down on the ball from this angle, you'll just create a no-spin float serve. You must use this specific brushing motion, and the contact absolutely has to be on the side of the ball. You are lifting the ball upwards. Think of lifting and brushing it at the same time. Brush the ball exactly like this. If you make contact on the back or lower half of the ball, it will have backspin, even with an upward swing path. You won't produce topspin, so you won't force the opponent to pop up their push or flick the ball long. The spin will be neutral, in which case you might as well just serve a simple backspin. So, brush like this, contact the side of the ball and lift it. That is a true sidespin topspin serve. Contacting the back of the ball will never work. Do not scoop underneath it. Try to keep your racket face vertical at contact. For shakehand players, this is difficult if your hand is too high. Lower your forearm, and the racket will naturally become more vertical. There are 3 keys to the short sidespin topspin. First, the toss. Use the combined force of the falling ball and your rising racket. That is how you time the contact to use combined force. Second, the forearm action. Drop it low, then snap it high. Third, the contact point. Not the back, bottom, or lower half of the ball. Your primary contact must be on the side of the ball as you lift it. The deceptive follow-through comes after the main motion is partially complete. You quickly drop your racket downwards to make it look like a backspin serve. In reality, it's a topspin serve. Don't worry about your opponent reading it. After contact, drop your racket quickly and use your body weight to keep the serve's trajectory low. Many players have the wrong idea that their main goal is to hide the spin. Don't worry about that yet. First, focus on maximizing the spin. Once you can produce heavy spin, you can use your body and follow through to disguise it. The problem for most of us right now is that our spin isn't heavy enough to begin with.